Now, while the city of Tshwane has been without a mayor for over 2 weeks, there are now efforts by the DA-led coalition to oust Speaker Mncedi Ndzwanana. Yesterday, Ndzwanana adjourned a special council sitting of a no-confidence motion against him, saying it was convened illegally. ActionSA says councillors have agreed to head to court, accusing the Speaker of unlawfully adjourning that meeting. Now, before we get into our next discussion, take a look at this.
Well, certainly the coalition has met already. There is a resolution to pursue litigation on an urgent basis. Our lawyers are at work, and our view is that we are going to have to approach the North Gauteng High Court to say to them that we need them to interdict the ANC and the EFF, and particularly the Speaker, from these unlawful forms of delay, and to ensure that the elections of mayors and speakers take place.
All right, so that was ActionSA's Michael Beaumont. Let's bring in now, as you can see there, the DA's Gauteng leader, Solly Msimanga, who joins us via our video link. And it's great to have you on the program, sir, all things considered. Thanks for your time. So we know there's some kind of threat from the multi-party coalition for legal action against the Speaker. But as a start, what's your instruction to your councillors in Tshwane about how they should actually respond to today's sitting to try elect a mayor? Because we know that the Speaker is likely to convene over that.
Well, thank you very much, Ayanda, and good morning to the viewers at home. I must tell you that the instruction from our side to our councillors is very clear. You have a majority, go in a disciplined manner and go and ensure that you elect City as the mayor of the city of Tshwane. Ensure that we're able to then start ensuring that we're able to put a adjustment budget together. Ensure that we're able to then get a speaker in place that will be able to then ensure that the function of the council, is as smooth as possible, and ensure that we're able to then stabilize government and deliver services to the people of Tshwane. That's basically our instruction to the people to the councillors in that chamber.
All right, so you believe the Speaker shouldn't be there, but the instruction today is that your councillors should nonetheless go and participate and cooperate with a meeting convened by the very same illegitimate Speaker.
Well, a number of things. He was elected legally, so that is fine. What we are saying is that he had now been, playing politics and actually then being very biased. Instead of being impartial, instead of ensuring that he follows the rules. Now, a number of things happen. One is that Section 29, subsection A, subsection 1 is very clear that if a majority of councillors, petition the Speaker to hold a council meeting, and when those councillors are very clear in terms of when that council meeting is supposed to be convened, the Speaker doesn't have leeway to then say, I don't like this date, I will then choose another date, which is what he did in this instance. We were very clear that we wanted to have a council meeting last week Friday. He, after 2 hours of receiving the petition, decided that he is going to then send out a notice to then say a meeting will then be convened on Tuesday. Now, he's already contravening, the Section 29, subsection 1, as I did indicate, to then say if councillors then indicate to you when the meeting should take place, you cannot then decide what you want to do. That's the first thing. The second thing is then that petition was then sent to the city manager, who, in case the Speaker fails to convene a meeting, he then is instructed to then convene a meeting. Convenes a meeting, the Speaker then shows up, decides to take over the meeting, and then decides that he's going to call the meeting off. Now, this is why we're deciding that, this is a matter that cannot continue any longer, and this is why we're considering taking the matter to a court of law, which we do believe confidently that, the law will rule in our favor.
When this particular Speaker was elected, the multi-party coalition came out guns blazing initially, claiming in some instances that the IEC is being involved in these political matters because they believe that that decision to discard, I think it was 60-odd of those ballots, was wrong.
Yeah.
Have you changed your mind about that?
If you look at the IEC's own website, and if you look at what will be regarded as admissible ballot, you find that those numbers are actually very much valid. And this is something that we felt that we could take to court. But we felt that, taking a matter such as this to court, then it prolongs us being able to then get back to council and us being able to then elect, a mayor and actually even removing a speaker and electing a speaker. So, you find that, these are things that will then drag on in court because they will not necessarily be regarded as urgent, and therefore it can take months before we get to a resolution. And this is why we decided that we will park this matter for now, but we will then deal with, the election of the mayor, so that we're able to then meet the deadline of, the 30th of April in terms of being able to have a adjustment budget submitted to National Treasury and also to Provincial Treasury. But here's another thing, when this shenanigans started happening, you saw, and I think it's evident, when there was violence by ANC and EFF councillors against the coalition councillors, where even boxes of IEC boxes were taken out of the hands of the IEC officials by EFF councillors. And Panyaza Lesotho was there. Nobody said anything. The MEC was there. Nobody said anything. They never even wrote once to the caucuses and say, why are you behaving in a manner that you're behaving? Why should we allow such things to happen in the chamber? And therefore, we find it very, very strange now that Muzukumalo now has the energy to start writing and saying, well, why shouldn't he take steps? The question is, why didn't he take steps when violence was, actually administered against the councillors of the DA and the EFF and the DA and the Freedom Fund and ActionSA? Why didn't he say anything at that point?
People living in Tshwane, those perhaps watching from the outside, will be forgiven if they struggle to keep up, because the mudslinging is probably unprecedented in our short coalition history in this country. And as we continue reflecting on how we can avoid this, there are questions being raised about how it appears that where the DA seems to be leading these coalitions, things just aren't working. I mean, what's your response to that? Because as far as some people are concerned, the DA doesn't come out smelling like a bed of roses either.
Well, not necessarily true. We lead quite a number of coalitions, and if you want to use then the two that are in Gauteng as a yardstick, I think you would need to then broaden your scope a whole lot more. If you go to the Western Cape, you'll find that there's quite a number of coalitions that we lead. Even in the Eastern Cape, there's a number of coalitions that we lead. And we are working very, very hard, but we're working against people that are using administrative stuff. They're using their provincial powers to then try and destabilize municipalities that are not necessarily under their control, and we are seeing that playing itself out now in the city of Tshwane. And these are things that the residents needs to be very much aware of. The ANC and the EFF knows that if they get to give us an opportunity to really govern without us interrupting, they will know that they will never find a space where they will ever govern again. If you want to get an example of that, go to the Western Cape, go to Cape Town. They will never ever regain any of those cities again, given the fact that where we have been able to govern and been allowed to govern in peace, we have been able to then administer better services than the ANC has ever been able to. We've been able to then keep corruption out of the council chamber. We have been able to then ensure that services are delivered to the people of those cities. And this is something that they know, that if this was to happen here, they will never ever be able to then recover. What we should be also looking at, Ayanda, is the fact that, services is actually now granting to a halt because there's no political leadership in the city. And this is something that is very much a concern to us. And this is why we want to make sure that as speedily as we possibly can, we're able to then elect the mayor, we're able to then get a speaker in office, and we're able to then work with the city manager and the officials to ensure that services are actually then brought to the people of the city of Tshwane. And this is our priority at this point in time, as I said to you right in the beginning.
Sure. So the plan is to go ahead and elect the mayor today, if things go your way. And I don't know if anybody's holding their breath because of the surprises we've seen over the weeks gone by. But if things go your way, Silas Brink is the man. What happens thereafter? Because there's also this parallel process, it sounds like you're considering, of going the legal route to remove Mncedi Ndzwanana, when quite frankly, you could just call for a sitting and remove him through a motion of no confidence.
Well, that's what we have done. And he wants to preside over a motion he wants to preside over a matter that is, having him conflicted. So this is why we're finding it very, very strange that this is what he wants to do. You cannot sit over a matter that is pertaining to you. You need to recuse yourself and allow the motion to be debated and actually be voted on by other people, without you being in control of those processes, because there's a conflict of interest in the matter there. That's the first thing. But the second thing, The ANC and the EFF were very, very much jovial. You remember a couple of weeks ago when they wanted to pass a motion of no confidence, and unfortunately they couldn't get to that because Randall Williams had actually then resigned. But after that, because they had done some shenanigans, and we are now there were already pressed charges against a number of councillors for bribery and an intention to then buy councillors of the coalition. We have now seen that since the replacement of a number of councillors, now they don't want to go into council anymore. Why? Because now they don't have anybody to buy. There's no brown envelopes that will be accepted by the coalition councillors, and therefore we are serious when we say that we want to go into this council chamber. We want to elect a new mayor. We want to replace the speaker. We want to stabilize government. We want to deliver services. That's basically what we want to do in the city.
And I think that's actually what everybody is hoping finally gets underway with a quarter of the year now behind us. I think the residents of Tshwane deserve nothing less than that. Solly Msimanga, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. He's the leader of the DA in Gauteng.